Hello, welcome to CarCast. I'm Matt, the moderator, DeAndre, here with Bill Goldberg. How are you? Happy New
Bright-eyed and
Year.
bushy-tailed for
Wait.
first show of 2026.
Yes. Well, our first show, my second show, Alistair was on. He flew back from his whirlwind trip in the UK, right? Because his wife is from France, so he has to go to the UK and then France and then a bit of back and forth. But yeah, he was up at 2 a.m. when his son decided to wake up for the time change and the jet lag, and he's like, it's amazing what you can get done between 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. when nobody's bothering you and emails and your phone's not ringing and none of that. But
I know that part of parenting quite well.
yeah, I know you do. Welcome to the show, Alex Porter. Alex is from Bring a Trailer. He's, let's say, one of the operations guys, one of the bosses over at Bring a Trailer. And I think so. We had Howard on a while back, and we were we just thought it was kind of fun to kind of go through and reflect on the year, what was happening at Bring a Trailer, crunch some numbers, uh, and I'll tell you, like I looked at some of the specs, some of the data, and there's no slowing down. Bring a Trailer is crushing it. People just love what's going on over there, even though several other things have started to pop up, and there's let's just say there's competitors, but for us as enthusiasts like Bill and I, we can pop on all of these sites and just see what's fun and what's new and what cars are going for and what are being sold. And but Bring a Trailer sort of paved the way for that for online auctions. Tell us a little bit about what you do at Bring a Trailer, and then we'll get into how the year was.
Awesome.
But Alex, before you do that, give us a definition of what bring a trailer is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm an auction guy. The only auction I go to is Barrett. I've done it through, 20, 25 years. It's an allegiance that I have for them. And so for a person in the muscle car market who just does live auctions, and they are being introduced to what bring a trailer is, can you please, in a very short synopsis, tell us what it is?
I absolutely can. First off, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. I know that painful part of parenting as well, too. I have three kids, and boy, am I glad they're back at school. Great. Yeah, sure. I'm happy to talk a little bit about the year in review, Matt. But Bill, to your point first, Bring a Trailer has a lot of similarities to what we often call tentpole auctions, like Barrett Jackson. I went to Barrett Jackson last year in Arizona and had a hoot. I'm going to be back there this year. It's really fun. We can't exactly replicate that, but because we're entirely online. But there are a couple big advantages to having an online auction. I would say the biggest of which is you have a week to look at the car and to look at hundreds of photos and videos and really to pour over the car. And maybe the biggest thing that is different is our community of 1 million+ people and the comments that happen on every auction, which you're probably familiar with, Matt. I know you are for sure. You've been through the ringer on those. They're kind of a catch-22. A lot of sellers
Yeah.
appreciate the comments. A lot of them find them irritating, but there's a lot of mark experts in there, and there's people asking a lot of questions about the car, and the seller has an opportunity to engage with potential buyers, right? To really go back and forth with them, answer questions about the car. And as you know very well, Bill, you're buying the seller a lot of times, not just the car, right? And so an opportunity to get to know that person is a real advantage.
Thank you.
Yeah. What I found was, first of all, the comments section, it sort of self-regulated itself from the beginning to become a valuable piece instead of being, not to dig on YouTube. This isn't YouTube comments,
Yeah.
right? Where everything just seems to be trying to poke the bear. Where the Bring a Trailer comments have always been, for the most part, you'll always find information there that is really helpful. Someone may even post a car and not know a ton about that make and model of car or something about it, right? And you will get these experts popping in going, have you checked this? Have you checked that? We know a bit about these cars. This is what we really like about them. And, and even the playing field. Some may go, it's not as rare as it seems because of this and this and this, right? Like, maybe some options are sort of overvalued,
Yeah,
right?
totally. And
Uh,
I would say for muscle car auctions in particular, Bill, you'll know this better than anybody. Muscle car people are very particular about, engine stampings and broach marks on those engine stampings. And, we've had to become experts on all that stuff ourselves here. And so the comments get really lively. Is that a real SS? Is that not a real SS? All that kind of
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
comes out in the comments. And it's really important, I think, for those things to be out in the air and for everyone who's thinking about bidding on the car to know exactly what it is and what it isn't.
Goldberg is a guy that's restored and had restored several muscle cars, and you're right. In that particular genre, it is kind of interesting. Having dealt with a bunch of European cars, old Lamborghinis, old Ferraris, think about the Lawman Mustang. Think about the stuff that Warman's worked on for you, Bill. Is like it's down to like the pen mark. Like there's like the factory has this pen mark. On the rear end, and it was this shade of yellow, and it's just like, and all it is just like somebody at the factory kind of marking something off like it was done. What did that mean, right? And the one thing I saw over the years of Barrett Jackson is you'll see a car come up there and be like, Ferrari 360 Modena, gated shifter, manual transmission, here's the spec. It's yellow, tan interior. Good to go. And then a muscle car comes again and goes, this is the only one with the 4-speed, with the 327 rear end and the posi. And it's like, it's the only one with that combination, but with the houndstooth interior. People go, what? What's going on? Like, why is there it's more about the build sheet than it is just the VIN spec, like there's a lot of that going on. So I kind of like that chatter on Bring a Trailer and getting into that information. And
For a buyer and a seller, it's a huge plus.
Yeah.
yes,
I mean, let's be perfectly honest. I'm going to be listing my 911 sometime soon, hopefully on Bring a Trailer, and I'm going to do my due diligence. As I said, I'm an auction guy. I'm a Barrett Jackson guy, so I really didn't know what you guys had to offer. From the outside looking in, you're going to think it's an auto trader on the internet,
yeah,
right? But it's so much more than that. And I am one of the people that passed judgment before he really knew. And I'm a car guy. And so I can see how other people probably did the same thing. But after years of following you guys and what you do, I cannot thank you enough from both a buyer and a seller's perspective for what you guys do. I
I
mean,
love
because it's really informative. It truly is. And I mean, I got this 911. It's got 48,000 miles on it, 92 911 turbo. Um, Beautiful car. I'm a muscle car guy. I don't know 100% of everything about this car. I have learned a plethora of information through just watching past auctions, the different listings, the way sellers list their vehicle. It's the same kind of thing. And you just have to understand what people are doing. And it's out in the open, it's right in your face, and it's a perfect option for guys like me. So thank you guys greatly for doing what you're doing.
Oh my gosh, that's strong praise, and I'll take it. I'm glad you're showing pictures here, Matt, of the car. I
yeah.
wanted to ask Bill all about it. I was looking, Bill, right before we jumped on. I was looking to see if you'd already submitted it because I wanted to move your listing through. I'm excited to help once we actually get it in the system. So 48,000. It's a 964 turbo. Those have been having a real moment. I don't know if you've noticed that. We've been listing.
Well, yes, 100%.
You've got perfect timing here. It's been 3.6s that we've been selling recently, but man, I mean, we had a couple go for over 800 grand. We had a black one, just like the Bad Boys car, sell for 600, I think, on the last day of the year. So
Yep.
perfect timing. How long have you had the car?
Good God, I've probably had it for almost 20 years.
Oh, good for you. You're ahead of the curve. Good for you. Oh, exciting.
I'm very lucky because the car's too small for me. So I probably put 500 miles on it since I've owned the car.
No kidding. Does it have sport seats? What's the spec?
Yes, sir. Sports seat.
Oh man, that's the good stuff. That's the good stuff. Oh, people are gonna be excited about that. Now, here's a question for you that comes with celebrity ownership. Are you comfortable with us saying it's like your car and your name and everything and kind of promoting the car as your vehicle?
100%.
I mean, we've been here doing it on a podcast
Yeah,
for
I mean
for months.
that's obviously that's part of the sell,
Yeah.
I mean, what I do also like about your site is that the car drives the interest, not the fact of the previous owner, right?
Yep.
Now I can add to it, but I don't want it to be front and center because it's all about the car.
Yeah.
I just
100%.
happen to own it, and I'm lucky enough to have jumped in the the air cooled Porsche kind of frenzy, and I'm a muscle car guy. I don't know a lot about this car. What started as a 2005 twin turbo that I had and sold to Jesse James, um, I had to replace it, and I wanted an analog car, and that was the car for me. Unfortunately, I didn't test fit myself in the vehicle, and therefore it became my wife's car. And my wife likes to drive her F-250 a lot more than she likes to drive a beautiful Porsche. So it's just it's been sitting here. And truth be told, and as Matt will tell you, over the past 2 years, I've completely reevaluated my collection. And I had a 68 Yanko RSS, one of, I don't know, six Grotto Blues, and it sat in my garage. And I'm really into these cars, and I put my life into them, and I put my heart and soul into them. And if I've got something that's sitting, there's another human being on the planet that may look at that car, and it could be the pinnacle of their collection. It might be the one that they've been looking for their entire lives. And I think someone else would be better suited to have this vehicle right now than myself because it's off to the side. So I don't know if I'm getting old. Well, yes, I'm getting old. Sentimental. I'm sharing my wealth with the masses, I guess, at the end of the day. If this was the one of one car that I was searching for and my entire life attaining that vehicle was my goal, I'd be greatly appreciative that somebody would pull it out of their collection and put it up for sale so that someone else can, it can provide memories for somebody else and maybe make a dream come true. So it's just another way of getting out there. And yes, I have absolutely no problem saying that it's my vehicle. But at the end of the day, the vehicle sells itself.
You'd be surprised that like well-known people don't necessarily want their name associated with cars. So that's why I ask. You're right, Matt. We're here promoting it, so maybe it doesn't matter. Do you find Bill, you miss those cars when you let them go as you reevaluate? Do you miss the Yanko?
1,000%. Yes, no question. I 67 GT 500, uh, moss green. Yeah, I mean, there are some cars. I had a 70 Challenger drag car that was a national record holder. There's some cars that, yes, I'm very upset that I got rid of. But again, at the end of the day, I know whoever got them values them more in their collection than I was at the time. So again, hey, it's about sharing the wealth. It's what car guys do,
Yep.
you know.
One of the things that I was kind of joked around with Adam Kroll about was he was going, he would also look at maybe one of the cars in the collection, go, this isn't a car I'm going to drive. I love this car. Whatever. It's a vintage Lamborghini. It's gorgeous. I love it. I always wanted one, but now I've had it and I've had it for a few years and I don't really drive it much. He's like, I took it to Jay Leno's garage or something, or we took it to the Rodeo Drive, Bruce Meyer's Rodeo Drive event, his Father's Day event. And he's like, maybe we should sell it. And I would say, okay, but then what else do you want to get? I said, don't sell it and then like go on vacation. I go, let's not shift the money there. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have to, like if you have to sell it and you got to pay taxes or something, that I get it, sell it, pay taxes. I go, but can we get the collection to the point of going, okay, let's sell a car because there's a different car you want to get in the collection. And it was kind of a fun thing. And yes, it sort of evolved into that way, and how he's got the Paul Newman collection and stuff as well. Like we've replaced street cars with racing cars, which he does take to the track and race, right? But Bill, also to your point is yes, like the blue and white, sack car behind me. I I never had a car in the collection that I felt like you couldn't drive because it was so few miles. And then after owning that car for a couple of years, it became more frustrating than it was enjoyable. And I love that car. I always wanted one of those cars, but I shouldn't buy one with 3,000 miles on it. I should buy one with 30,000
And
miles
enjoy.
on it, and be able to take it out and drive it. Because the few times
But
I
those
drove
are the stages we go through as
yeah,
collect.
yeah. Yeah, so I know now for sure I'm not a collector for the sake of collecting. I would be a collector for the sake of being able to drive them. I'm not saying it needs 10,000 miles a year, but for me to get in it and go, do I want to take it to, the open house event at the Peterson? I was like, yeah, what's the round trip? What's the miles? What's it going to do? I just don't want to do that math in my head because it takes all the fun out of it, right?
Your life, yes.
Yes. All right. So bring a trailer, back to bring a trailer. But yes, thank you. That's a little tangent of ours that Bill and I have been talking about for a while. Uh, the cars in the collection, how it should evolve. I don't know if it was Randy who was on or Howard that was on that when we spoke about bring a trailer had grown to an amazing number, 1.2 billion in sales. But I just went through the notes and looked at the recap. You guys crushed that
Yeah,
for 20.
1.71 billion this year,
Wow.
something like that, which
But
is
what stuck out in my mind were the top grossing vehicles.
yeah, we had huge like record sales this year, or borderline record. We sold two Chirons, which was crazy. I mean, these are cars, that a lot of times traditionally would have only gone to a tentpole type auction, right? So to sell
Absolutely.
those kinds of cars, the only I can't remember the color of it right now, but the only blue LaFerrari. So like
Uh-huh.
really, really interesting cars. I will admit those aren't exactly my cup of tea. I prefer older cars myself, but it's cool to list those, and it's cool to have them on the site. I will also say, Bill, you were asking. I hate to sound like I'm promoting Bring a Trailer like a salesperson, but
Well, it's
the
your
guy
job.
the guy who sold the Ferrari, he paid $99 to sell that car. That was his entire fee, right? So, and the buyer paid $7,500, and that's the entire amount of money it cost to sell that car, at least in terms of fees to us. So, and that's true for the Chirons and for all those things. So,
You should
uh,
advertise that exponentially because at the end of the day, that's a tidbit of information that is extremely valuable because
right.
once you do the percentages, I mean, you feel as though you kind of had a bad date, but
Totally. I mean,
Yeah.
you can sell a 5K car or a $5 million car and bring a trailer, and it costs the seller $99. That's the reason.
it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the comments are really what drives your site.
100%. 100%.
Um,
Some things that I think that I liked seeing that sort of evolved over the years was oftentimes there's some complications on getting a car listed, and that you're like, oh, the cars sell when they have a lot of photos, detailed photos underneath the car, all around the car. If you get a video of the car firing up the car, by the way, I personally think if if it is a notable car, celebrity car, something like that that's owned, then I think the video is even more important to go, by the way, I'm Bill Goldberg. This is my car. Let me
100%.
tell you the story. This is why I bought it. This is why I loved it. I'm selling it because I don't fit in it. Whatever the case may be.
I mean, we could put that right in the listing.
Uh,
I totally agree that that's the most important part, right?
but the evolution of it is you guys over the years started offering additional services. There's premium services. Someone you will find a photographer, a local photographer that you've worked with before that will come out and shoot the car. Maybe a videographer at this point. Shipping, transportation. That was another issue. Is there was it was always about how do I get this car to me, or when can I get this car to me? And if you've never done that before, who do you call? How do you know you're getting a good price? You can go online and get any sort of transportation quote, and it could be ridiculous, or it could be, by the way, you may not know the difference between like open trailer and enclosed trailer. I mean, physically you do, but I'll tell you, if you're doing open trailer to save a few bucks, don't do it in the winter.
Right.
Right? Like that's a massive issue, because your car will come back with just not just potentially snow and ice, but salt from the roads and just all it caked underneath, just like all of that. I've made that mistake once before.
Well, let's just take into consideration that we're in a day and age when people want things right now, right? And they want
Yep.
ease. And so if you can provide people with the services that they're going to have to individually acquire after purchasing the vehicle, then it makes it so much easier. And I'm a potential seller.
Yep.
So looking at what you have to offer, if I don't have to reinvent the wheel, because as a potential seller, I'm looking at various ads, listings, and one's got 100 photos, one's got 400 photos, one's got this, one's got that. At the end of the day, what is the best way for me to prepare this? And if you guys have a package that can make it easier for the seller, so that not only he doesn't have, or he or she doesn't have to go out and spend the time to formulate this team to put together what we really don't know what is going to work. But if we have the help of somebody who's done it before, my God, it's a one-stop shop.
Alex, can you walk us through the process of getting a car listed, or selling a car and buying a car? What are the options? What are the services you guys offer?
100%. I said, so to Bill's point, making it as easy as possible is our goal. And Matt, you said we keep adding services, and that's again to make it easier and easier. Now, all that said, and the low fees, all that said, selling a car online, at least the way we think you should sell it, is freaking hard, because you need, and I listened to your guys' last episode of last year, all the stuff you're doing, Bill, that's what you have to do. You have to prep the car. I mean, if you want top dollar, if you want to maximize your result, you need to clean the car, detail it. You need all your records. You need to take an amazing photo gallery. You need multiple videos. That's like real work. So
Yeah.
yeah, so we can provide all that.
And I wish I would have known that, because I wouldn't have spent 400 hours the last month underneath this vehicle trying to clean. No, but at the end
I
of
think you
the day,
enjoy
very
it.
anal, and if it represents me, then it has to be as perfect as I can get it, right?
Well,
But
that's
not
a
everyone's like
big,
that.
yeah, that's a big part of it. Like a lot of sellers enjoy that. And again, you're buying the seller, so it won't be lost on people that you did all that work, and it's documented here on your podcast. One of the services we provide we've really grown this year is our local partner service, where professional sellers who've kind of made a brand on Bring a Trailer will take your car, and you can just, and by the way, this is how I sell my cars on BAT now. I don't hide that they're mine, but I hand my key over to a pro seller. We use 911R, or I used him. His name's Matt Crandall. He runs a operation called Avant Garde up in Portland, and also down in Phoenix. And he lists like 60 cars a month, and he has his own brand on BAT. He gets top dollar for them. And I slid my key over to him for my most recent one. We have a guy down in LA, Rob Dietz, who you may know. Wob is his username on BAT. He sold a tremendous number of cars on BAT. He's one of our top sellers. Again, same kind of thing. You can just hand your car over to him, and a lot of sellers would like that. They'll also handle the comments and the submission and all the kind of complicated stuff.
Yeah. And I've done that myself. I've done that for, I don't know, a dozen cars.
Totally.
For
So,
friends and stuff as well.
But
so
but
all
as,
of
but
that,
to your point, and I'm sitting here as a seller going, oh shit, I could have done that. I should have done that. But as a buyer, I'm appreciative and extremely impressed that the person that had it prior to myself spent so much time on it themselves.
100%. It's like it's those are our favorite kinds of listings. Super rich in information, super rich in photography detail, in video detail. And the reason I asked about putting your name in the listing, like just put it, my philosophy is put it all out there. Don't hide anything. If there's a scratch here, talk about it. This person owned it 15 years ago, talk about that. You've got 800 records. Let me see them all. Show me what you've done to the car. Don't say it's the most perfect example. Don't say it's had a nut and bolt restoration. Show me, right? Like,
Yeah.
consumers are smart online. They want the facts. Give people the facts. Don't editorialize. Don't say it's perfect. Don't do anything. Show me. Show me that that's the case, right?
See, that's the problem with my vehicles. I don't have a lot of records on it because I bought it from Bob Johnson. Matt, you remember Bob, right?
Yeah.
So I bought it from Bob, and the person that had it before Bob, unfortunately, has Alzheimer's, and he doesn't even remember owning the vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, but
So it's tough.
it is, but it's
So,
important to
so
be
that's what
truthful.
I'm doing right now. I'm trying to set it up to where I've got everything that I can possibly get my hands on to throw out so everyone can make their own decision.
That's all a person can do. And one of the mistakes I see people make is they try to hide those kinds of things. Like, oh no, I do have record. Just be truthful. Like Matt, you mentioned earlier, sometimes people list who don't know that much about a car. That's fine. People inherit cars. People can like
Yeah.
cars who are experts on them. That's fine. Just be truthful about what you know and what you don't know, because you're trying to get somebody to have confidence in you who's never met you and never seen the car in person, right? So the key is total transparency.
Okay, here's a specific question for you that people can apply to maybe what they're doing in the future. 92 911 turbo, 48,000 miles. As a muscle car guy, I know that certain alterations of the vehicle from original might add or subtract from the value of the vehicle. And the people that know that car are the ones who set that bar.
Yep.
I can't do that because I'm an American muscle car guy. Therefore, the 92 Porsche 911 Turbo that I have has an aftermarket intercooler on it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is a positive in a lot of ways, performance-wise. But what does the 911, community think about that? Is it something, and I did my due diligence, I found an original. But is it worth paying $4,500 for an original or whatever it is? And because what does it mean to that market as opposed to what does it mean to the market of the people that I'm familiar with in that car? So I don't really know, to be perfectly honest. And Matt will tell you, I've gone back and forth and back and forth, and what's the positive and what's the negative. And the shop that did it is out of business. They're from Scottsdale. And so I can't tell you exactly what it is and what exactly was done because the previous owner has Alzheimer's and the company's out of business. So in that situation, I'm kind of stuck. I've made my decision. I'm sticking with the aftermarket intercooler. I'm not wasting the money because truthfully, whoever buys the car, if they want to do that, they have the option to go out and do it. But that's a huge issue. And I've gone back and forth on it. So what's your advice on something like that?
Yeah, so that's interesting. I mean, being honest about it in the way you are is the best thing you can do. Porsches are interesting. So muscle car people are lunatics. Porsche people are also lunatics in a different way. I would say C2 Corvettes are maybe the most. We talk about that a lot, though. That has maybe the craziest group of lunatics who want to talk about them.
Yes.
But Porsche people are crazy too. But they
But
are
as they should be, right?
totally.
In every niche you should be because it's thorough.
Totally. Totally. They know a lot. I mean, I'm the host of our podcast and I had Magnus Walker on one time and he's, rattling off individual VIN numbers of Porsches he's owned and why that one's different than the VIN number before. I mean, that's a level of insanity that
Yes.
I can never achieve. Porsche people, I will say, are on the whole very tolerant of modifications because Porsches have a long history of racing and being modified. And in particular, 930 turbos, the predecessor to your car, are almost all modified. I used to work on them when I was a young mechanic, and all of them had K27 turbos and big intercoolers. Like it was done to a lot of. Now those cars have shot up. They were cheap cars. They've shot up in value, and so a lot of people have returned them to stock to say that it's an all original car. But man, that car was modified 15 years ago. They all were.
Yeah.
So, don't try to pretend that your 930 was stock in 1994. It wasn't. They were all modified. So
100%.
yeah, I don't think that makes that much of a difference. Now, if it's an RWB car and the fenders have been cut off and it's got big overflares on it, that's a different thing. Now you've modified the car beyond to a point where it costs the value of the car to return it to stock. That's not the case with them.
Yeah, and I look at it like an old muscle car. I mean, what would I do if I wanted it 100% stock, and what would it take me to get it there? And is it, first and foremost, is it possible with the current vehicle condition? And I can say 1000%, you could take this thing back to completely stock in, I don't know, just depends on how long it takes you to replace the intercooler. But other than that, I mean, there's really no modifications of the car. It's as original as possible.
Almost every car is modified or has been modified. One of the things,
Oh, yes.
one of the phrases that drives me nuts is, we know where the car was every day of its life, or we know everything that happened to it every day. And I'm like, man, if the car is 50 years old, that's just a lie. Like nobody knows what happened to a car every day of its life. So being honest about things and yeah, I think you're exactly right, Bill. Let the next guy decide what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Thank you for your input.
Let's take a quick break.
I've spent some sleepless nights.
Yeah.
Don't lose sleep over it, man. Don't lose sleep over it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, truthfully, again, if the owner of if the potential owner of this car is listening to this, I would appreciate the fact that I'm so anal about this car, because not only does it, first and foremost, it's an extension of my personality, and it's an extension of my brand, right? So it represents everything I represent. But secondly, I mean, I don't know, man. This car thing is very real. I mean, for me, extremely real. So I want to be as honest as humanly possible. I would never steer anyone in the wrong direction intentionally by any means. And that's why I'm learning about this Porsche and about the crowd and about what they like and what they don't like. And, I want to set myself up as positively as possible so that when this thing hits, I've got all my ducks in a row. So,
yeah,
I would appreciate that if I was somebody buying it, no question, because I would die to have a car that I purchased prep by an owner like me. I have lived in this garage for the past 2 months, just trying to get this car as perfect as humanly possible for the next guy. There are a lot of reasons, but at the end of the day, I'm a car guy, and I want the next person to have, the most wonderful experience that they can have.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, Alex, so you're walking through the process of getting a car listed and some of the services that are available now. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I didn't walk you through it at all. I don't feel like I've answered any of your guys' questions.
I interrupt so much. That's it.
No, it's great. And Bill, we need to know when we can get you back in another Porsche, but we can talk about that later. One that you'll fit in.
Right afterwards.
The place I always recommend people start is go to the website and take a look at previous listings of a car similar to yours. We've listed almost 230,000 vehicles at this point, and every single one of those results and all of their comment sections and all of it are fully available. No hiding of anything. You can see every car that sold, didn't sell on the website, right? So I have the 964 turbo model page up right now in front of me on my screen. We have listed 172 of them. Most recently, they've all been 3.6s, but in beginning of December, we had a 3.3, a 91 with low miles that sold for 270 grand. So you can see all this, right? So the first thing you want to do is take a look at this and figure out what you think you've got. Because once you submit the car, you're going to talk to our curation team and you're going to probably argue about reserves. You're going to talk about reserve. That's like the main thing, right? A lot of people um, want cars to they want more for their car than it might be worth. And while we want to list as many cars as we can, we also want them to sell. We had about an 81, almost an 82% sale rate last year. Um, I don't think I'm revealing any secret information by saying $99 does not cover what it costs for us to put a listing up on the website. So buyer's fees are what we rely on to kind of run our business. And so that is why it is important for us to have a high sale rate. And it's also why it's so important for us to have cars represented as honestly and transparently as possible, because we want to keep buyers happy. We do not want cars showing up with buyers that they're surprised by. So first stop, take a look at the model pages. See what you think your car is worth.
Yeah.
Next step is to go right to the top of our website, hit submit a vehicle, and submit the car. It's free to submit it. You don't have to pay any money. And you will fill out our submission form. You don't necessarily need a full gallery and everything for that. You don't need to have done all the prep work for that. And that'll get you in touch with our curation team, Howard, who's kind of employee number one after Randy. He runs that team, and they're the people with their finger on the pulse of the market. We take 50% or even less of the cars that are submitted to us. And one of the big friction points is reserve, right? If somebody, if Bill showed up and was like, I need $1.2 million for my 3.3 turbo, we'd be like, well, we appreciate you, we value you, but it's probably not going to bid to that amount. So we want to have a realistic reserve. If the car has an amazing presentation, by the way, and an owner is as diligent as Bill has been, and they have a little bit on the higher end, we'll usually roll with it because there's always a chance that there can be auction magic. That happens with special cars like Bill's car. But for the most part, we wanted to have a realistic reserve. And a lot of sellers, as you can imagine, don't necessarily have a realistic number in their mind. That's the old fixed price model that we all grew up with, right? Where you let your car sit for 18 months or 6 months or however long with some crazy number, and you argue with everyone who calls you until you finally get it sold. That is not our website is for people who want to get their car sold in 7 days. That's the point. It's for people who are ready to go. So then once a reserve number is agreed on, you pay your gigantic $99 listing fee, and then you are put into our production process. Matt, you alluded to the fact that years ago it took forever to get a listing live, and that is true. We were growing so fast between, call it 2018 and 2023, that we couldn't hire fast enough. We couldn't put people in seats fast enough to help our sellers. It was like the restaurant with the line wrapped around the block, right? That's like the hot ticket, which is a good problem to have, but it was a problem. People were irritated. It took a really long time. So we've spent quite a few years now scaling the company and getting all the resources in place. And now you can have if you have everything that's needed when you submit your car, we can often have your listing live within 24 hours of you submitting it. But a lot of times people submit a car and we want the listing to be thorough. So we ask a bunch of questions after they submit it. Like, hey, do you have records? How long have you owned it?
Yeah.
You said it's titled in California, but you sent us a picture of a Texas title. What's going on there? Like, we want all that stuff ironed out and as clear as possible when we're putting the listing together. One other thing I'll say is there is always a real live human assigned to a listing at all times. There is always an actual human representative. There's a human putting your listing together. It's not a robot or an algorithm. The curation people you're talking to are real humans. When the listing's live, you've got somebody who you can complain to commenters about commenters to at all times. And then we have a team that's purely there to help people after the auction closes if there's any kind of problem or weirdness there. So getting all those people in place and getting them trained up took quite a few years, but we're in a great spot now, and we're able to push listings through really quickly. We did almost 50,000 listings in 2025, which is crazy because we didn't have auction lot number 50,000 till 2021. So it took us 7 years to do our first 50,000 auctions, and we did that many in one calendar year last year, which, like, I was a stay-at-home dad when I got this job, and was training to be a school teacher, and I thought I'd come work at BaT, my favorite website, for a couple of years and then go back to being a school teacher. Never thought I'd be talking to you guys on a podcast.
Congrats. Hard work. You guys have done a great job, and you're sitting pretty right now, for sure. And when we hang up, have your guy call me. I'm ready.
Absolutely. I mean, like Bill, you tell us what you need, and we'll help you out no matter what. You guys have my email address now, so you can reach out to me, and I can help with whatever. I was about to shout it out on the podcast.
Yeah, you don't need to do that. It's okay. So the car, once it gets listed and your $99 fee's been paid, then it's an active listing. And that's, there's a couple versions of listings. There's premium listings, there's normal listings. And so some are a week, some are longer than a week, depending on, what you're opting in for. And then sort of the after auction services like we were talking about, delivery, verification stuff. There's a number of things that you can do. So, but and then the auction itself, participating in the comments. I would say um, one of one of the worst things you can do, aside from having not enough photos or videos, would be not participating in the comment section as the seller, or have somebody on your behalf. Like you said, sometimes you don't know enough about the car. You want to have somebody, or don't have time. You have sort of an authorized person who's working that listing for you. That even if the answers are I don't know, if the answers to the questions are I don't know, I don't have that information,
Correct.
or but as long as somebody is responding, that's more frustrating having no response than anything else. So
Yeah.
uh, that is
I
definitely,
reply to everything.
yeah, reply to
Like,
everything.
even when somebody's annoying, kill them with kindness. Like that's like
Yeah.
big advice. So best practices on commenting, I'd say, are once the car goes live, put a big intro comment out there. Bill, say like, "Hey, this is Bill. I'm here to answer your questions. Here's the car. If there's anything that you forgot to add into the description that you want to add it right there. And then, check the comments once or twice a day. Respond to everyone that you can, even the trolls, even the peanut gallery. You can sometimes, if they're not saying anything of value, you can just ignore them. But if they have a legitimate question, always answer it, because oftentimes you'll see buyers, especially of big cars, they never comment. But I promise you, they're reading all the comments from the peanut gallery people who've never placed a bid.
Yeah.
So when sellers tell us, "Oh, you shouldn't be
Flush
allowed,"
it out.
right? We have sellers tell us you shouldn't be able to comment unless you've placed a bid, and that's not right.
That's not, you don't have to
Because
do that.
right, because a lot of people who've never placed a bid are actually experts about the cars or worked on them or whatever, and the people who are bidding are reading their comments. And Matt, to your point, they're watching whether the seller responds to them or whether the seller can control their temper. You can be an active seller and be a dick.
Yeah.
That's not good either, right?
I
Like
might
that.
have to have a representative
Yeah, I'll help you out,
return my
Bill.
comments.
I'll help you out, Bill. One of the other things I'll say about commenting, and this is just from my own experience, is oftentimes you'll get a lot of comments about a vehicle or the history of that. Like, again, like the Sac Mustang that I put up, it's a fantastic story, but not a well-known story, believe it or not, right? And people like I know Celine Mustangs, I know Roush, I didn't know the Sac cars, I didn't know the Shelby you know uh, Club cars. So you'll get a lot of comments and even questions about that, and for me, I was like, I don't have to answer that question that quickly. It's not specific to the car that I'm selling. The community will work it out. And you will get somebody who's probably more knowledgeable than me and you and most of the others to come in and go, you know, this is what this is some information about how SAC cars were made. Or somebody go, you got to talk to Bob. He posted a YouTube video. He worked on these cars back in the day. Here's the link to the video. So a lot of times the community works out the questions and answers in the conversation. But when you get into specific and they're like, when did you acquire that car? Or, does it have this particular thing on it? Um, you, you know, I'll go in and I've done listings, and many times during that week of listings, I go back to the car and look at it to verify
Yes.
something that somebody's asking me, right? They'll go, by the way, did you find a tag number or a serial number, on the hood? For example, we've sold Lamborghini Miras, and it's not a VIN number, it's just more of a serial number. But on that particular car, it's stamped in certain areas on the front, on the rear clamshell, in the door jamb behind the door, like and when those cars back in the day, if they got damaged, someone would replace the clamshell because it's a big giant aluminum piece, and they go, does the clamshell VIN number match the rest of the car, or does it match the engine? And I go, oh, I don't know. Let me go check, and then answer comments that way. That's in my experience.
All 10 VIN numbers on an S2000. Yeah, and like you sometimes you got to be prepped for that stuff. Bill, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody starts asking you about that intercooler. Go take a picture of the serial number. You might find somebody who knows exactly what it is or who put it
No
on.
question.
I mean, or like sometimes like the guy who built it might show up. I mean, like we have
No
that
doubt.
happen. You know what I mean? Like on a car like your Sac Mustang, Matt, like the previous owner might show up and
Yeah,
talk about it, right? Like which is
yeah,
a
he did.
there you go. I mean,
Yeah,
that's pretty wild, right? Like you get the actual previous owner of the car on there
yeah.
talking about it. So
So
that's
I just want to talk about what going up on Bring a Trailer. So when we talked to Howard a while ago, 90s cars were having their moment, right? They were certainly starting to catch on. It took a few years. And, we've seen this before is the more expensive car, the big brother brings up the little brother. You often see that, right? We've said this 1,000 times on the show, a Mercedes Gullwing, that can often bring up, the 190, right?
yes.
So, when 60s muscle cars get very expensive, we start looking at 70s, 80s, 90s, right? And then even now, Bill, you weren't at SEMA this year, but walking around and looking at like, what's the new Roadster Shop chassis? Last year was the Fox Body chassis. This year, it's the Camaro chassis, an 80s and 90s Camaro chassis, right? Because that people who grew up with those cars are now have the means potentially, they have the means to get one and modify one or have one built by a builder, and it means a lot to them. And so the 90s cars were really starting to take off on Bring a Trailer. You mentioned the 964, sort of the last of the analog Porsches. 2000s cars are starting to have a moment. When you look at the data on Bring a Trailer, 2000s cars, and now we're really talking about an era of the last of the analog cars,
Yep.
right?
So 2000s, the decade of the 2000s, the aughts, whatever you want to call it, is our most popular decade by far. We have 107 live right now from the 2000s. From the 2010s, we have 90 live. And from the 90s, we only have 65 live. So I would actually like the 2000s and the 2010s are where it's at. That's like what people are excited about. I'm 42 years old. I grew up around 90s and 2000s cars. Most of my colleagues, this is a young company, are in their 20s and 30s, and they're interested in cars that I don't know if three of us would even consider collector cars, right? So there's a lot of action there. Now, 90s, I think, is to your point, Matt, it's kind of in the sun right now, right? Like
Yeah.
964 turbos, these crazy results. The NSXs went crazy.
NSX is,
Right. I
yeah.
sold my NSX this year, and now I regret it, kind of like Bill. And now might need to buy another one, and I shouldn't have sold that one because it's going to be a lot more expensive to buy another one. But 2000s also, to your point, last analog car. I also just sold my 2005 GT3, which no traction control, no, it's the first GT3 that was sold here, no screen on the dash, right? So that's an interesting era of car, right?
That's the replacement.
Oh man, I wish I'd had a chance to
He
let you.
just had one. Alex just had one.
It's
Yeah.
they're an amazing car. Mine was speed yellow and a weird one because it was an '05, not an '04. Most of them are '04s here, but that's it's the end of gated manuals for Ferraris. It's the end of manual transmissions in a lot of cars, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
So that's where the action is right now for sure.
Definitely.
Is Porsche the most popular brand on Bring a Trailer?
I
Is
mean, it's the most popular brand everywhere, I think.
everywhere. So
Yeah.
Randy posted an article on it's a recap of the year, right? He wrote this article on the Bring a Trailer. I guess it's on the Bring a Trailer blog, and I wanted to bring it up because let me just share the screen here. So I'm bringing this up. He runs through some of the statistics. As you mentioned, 49,486 listings this year, 40,465 were sold. It's 81.8% sell through rate, which is fantastic. 1.713 billion in sales, total sales. These are amazing numbers. You mentioned about the blue LaFerrari, but when I scroll down, and some fantastic comments, but I don't know if this is somebody who works with you guys, but
It is not.
it's not. So, but I'm looking at these numbers, and these are interesting numbers. He's saying, top make is Porsche. I don't know what these numbers are. Are these auction numbers? Because if they're the amount of listings, these numbers don't make sense. How do you have 76,000 German cars when you only had 46,000 auctions,
Yeah,
49,000
so
auctions?
that's total numbers of Porsches listed, period. So like overall ever in this is going to be our 12th year of
Oh,
auctions.
I see. So
So
he's going total number from the
yeah,
existence.
from
Yeah.
20 starting from 2014. So we've listed whatever it was. That number is right. I'm looking at it
Okay.
right now. 28,760 Porsche results. And we've done, like I said, we're getting real close to a lot, 230,000. So that's over 10% of our total listings ever have been
Yeah.
Porsche. So there you go. But I think
So
my
this
guess,
is what I thought was interesting too, though, was top
oh, yeah,
eras, and like they're almost literally in order, right? It's just like
oh man,
2000s to the
that would make Randy sad. Because I
90s.
love 50s cars. I even own a car from the 30s. We love old cars. So
I heard you're a cord collector.
you know about cords. I do. I have two cords. Yeah, I do. That's psychopathic.
Yes. We I get out to Pebble Beach pretty much every year, and it's even just walking the lawn. If you're interested in cars, you walk the lawn, and it's sort of a master class in things you've never known about cars. You will find makes, models, not like a one-off race car. You will find stuff out there that you've never even heard of before. You will probably find something, God forbid, could stump, the best of the best out there. And yes, you start to walk through and go, oh, I've never seen that before. What is that? Now, cord, we do know. Cord, by the way, I did want to ask this. You said you're, I don't know, 42, right? You're however age is thoughts on the younger generation like yourself falling for pre-war cars. It's
Yeah.
because we always kind of thought about, the car statistically on Bring a Trailer, it's good numbers we were just showing, is you love the ones that you grew up with. You love the muscle cars you grew up with. The posters you had on your walls, the ones you drove in high school, right? But unless you drove a Cord in high school, my friend, I'm not sure what this love affair is getting the younger generation to keep that aspect of the car community alive.
Yeah, it's tough. I worry about it a little bit. The high end stuff will always be fine, right? Like Duesenbergs, which the Cord company owned, they built 400 something of them. They're all still around, all of them, and those cars will always be valuable, and somebody will always keep those cars running,
Yeah.
right? They made about 3,000 Cords, and like by the way, when I had mine worked on, pretty hard to find somebody who will do that, right? And do it
Right.
well. There's like a couple people in the country that can do that. So that part of it is tough. A lot of cars from the 30s and even post-war are pretty simple. So, a competent mechanic can figure a lot of them out. The problem with a Cord is it's front wheel drive and it has this weird pre-selector transmission. Bizarre, it's got very bizarre technology on it that is hard to make work right. They weren't very good cars when they were new. They were advanced, but they weren't very good. So my colleague, I can speak for my colleagues. So broadly, you see think pieces. I've seen them in the New York Times where people say like, "Oh, young people don't care about cars." I call BS on that. I don't think that's true at all. I think young people do care about cars. I think cars are expensive, and so it's hard for young people to, have a collection or even keep one old car going. Which even a relatively modestly priced collector car can be really expensive to keep going. So I think that's one of the issues. People in their 20s, getting them excited about cars that were built before they were born, I don't think that's that hard. A lot of my colleagues here have BMW 2002s or Amazon Volvos, right? Cars that were built 20 years before they were born. So they're excited about cars like that, 240Zs, things like that. Getting them excited about 30s cars is tough. Getting them to even know about 30s cars is tough. One area where I see where I have a lot of optimism is hot rods.
Mhm.
You go to a hot rod show or do a nostalgia drag race, and there's a lot of tattooed dudes with flat brim hats in their 30s, like driving 30s cars. So all that stuff comes back around. I think if it's cool and it's exciting to be a part of the culture surrounding a car, I think all that stuff will stay alive. It's going to get more and more niche for some of the really old stuff, but I'm optimistic in general about young people being interested in old cars. I mean, what do you guys think?
Well, and it's all about us older guys teaching them.
Right,
Mhm.
You
right.
know, we have a responsibility, and whether it's teaching them or just getting exposing them to these type of vehicles, I mean, we it has to be done.
Yeah. What do you do on that front, Bill? Are your kids into cars?
Well, I have one boy, yes, sir, and he is definitely into cars. He's not into muscle cars as much as I would like, but he's most definitely into, high horsepower new vehicles that can pretty much blow everything that I have off the road. But it's the generation. They like glitz and glamour. They like in your face. They're social media people that
Yeah, they like TikTok cars, if that's a
exactly
thing, right?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's fine. That's where the generation is. That's what they're finding their niche with. But
Yeah, and that's
uh,
when you hook up with the local high school and the shop class, and you invite them out, and you have them come look at your collection, and then you spur conversation, and you hope that you spur a little interest.
That's
That's all.
awesome.
yeah. What was it about chords specifically? What triggered you for that?
Well, I mean, like Bill is saying, it's my dad. My
Your
dad loved
dad.
it. So, and he never had, well, he did have one when I was a teenager, but didn't have one for a long time. And then I kind of had this, my dad's 86 years old, and I kind of had this thing. I'm like, man, this would be a fun father-son thing to do because they have this big Cords were owned by the Auburn company, the Auburn Boattail Speedster, and Auburn is a city in Indiana, and every year, the factory's there, the museum's there. It's an interesting company because the old factory and the old main showroom is now the museum for Auburn Cords and Duesenbergs. So you get to go into this cool 30s Art Deco building. There's the factory where they built them, and then this little town, Auburn. All the people are like the great grandchildren of people who worked at the factory in the 30s. It's a kind of the museum, the club, and the cars are all
Yeah.
together. And
I
I was like, man, I want to restore one of these cars and take it back with my dad and drive it around Indiana. And that's what we did this year. It was amazing.
That's
I
great.
I I think that's important to, even if your kids aren't interested, to just try. Bill and I talked, a couple of years ago. I think before COVID, we were giving out tickets to racing events, going, dads, grandpas, like bring, we're handing out tickets to Bristol, go to NASCAR, go to IndyCar, go to
100%.
NHRA. If you get an opportunity to go to, something like Amelia Island or Pebble Beach, Adam Carolla's son, Sonny, he's great. I love him, but he's he has gone, I think, 10 years in a row with us to Pebble Beach. And I know he appreciates cars. And I don't know if he's a teenager, he's 19, there's other things going on in his life. I don't know if he's quite there yet, that his goal is cars. But, since he was 10 years old, he will be able to go to, even if he takes a break and goes when he's an adult and he goes to, back to Monterey, when he's 28 years old, he's going to walk around with somebody and go, oh, when I was a kid, I came here and I shook hands with Horatio Pagani and I shook hands with Christian von Koenigsegg and oh yeah, I know, you know, Mr. Connors, who's a multiple Pebble Beach winner and he's had this car and had this car, like I think that'll make an impression on him. I think it's very important. And if he never becomes a car guy, he's going to have that. He's going to have that memory. And I think about that too, like cars you worked on with your kids, or even just road trips and experiences and things like going to a race. You they may go to a race and never go again, but I thought it was kind of fun to go to. Interesting little fun fact here, Bill. Alistair Weaver, our other host on the CarCast, he's the editor in chief of Edmunds. He's a British guy. He's been out here for 8 years now. He's never been to an NHRA
Oh
drag
my
race
God.
event. So I told him, there's no getting out of this, my friend. We are going to we're going to Pomona, and I think it's April now. We're gonna go to drag racing. You're gonna experience something you've never experienced in your life. Of
Please get him up
everything
close.
if everything he's ever done, every car he's driven, documentaries he's done, traveled all around the world, been off the grid to car, everything he's done, I was like, it's not an HRA. It's not. When
I
10,000
mean,
horsepower is going down the drag strip and you feel it through your entire body, and you feel like your eyes are going to pop
Don't
out.
prep him at the starting line. Don't prep him at the
Yeah.
starting line and get
no,
his video reaction.
I
totally let him experience it. That's for it's so interesting you say that because one of the things that I always think about trying to expose our younger staff to is that exact same thing. So many of them are not familiar with drag racing, and I'm like, that's as raw. I mean, you feel it in your bones. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah.
It's unbelievable if you've never experienced it. Interestingly, my NSX was the Edmunds long-term NSX, and it was on Adam Carolla's podcast. Dan Edmunds brought it
Oh
on
yeah.
Adam
Yeah, I
Carolla's
remember.
podcast. It was a silver car. Yeah, that was my car that I just sold this year. Uh,
Awesome. Yeah, I love Dan and I love the NSX. And listen, speaking of our good friend Dave Merrick from Honda, he just like almost his entire career, 40 years at Honda, he just retired. And he has been designing. If you This has been sort of his side gig is he designs most of the NHRA cars. He does Ron Caps's car, all the Napa cars. He designs and does the graphics on on a bunch of those cars as well. So there you go. All right. So what are we looking forward to for 2026 in Bring a Trailer? You guys going to beat 1.7 billion?
we have grown. I don't want to like knock wood. I don't want to jinx anything. We've grown every year. It gets tougher and tougher every year because we've got so much of the market. But I mean, I would say our number one goal is, like I said earlier, is to just keep making things easier, adding features, adding services, providing the best service we can to customers. And for me, what I'm passionate about is creating the best listings we can, the most honest, transparent, and thorough, rich in detail. That's like it's hard. It's actually hard to pry information out of sellers sometimes. So continuing to make the listings as good as we can, continuing to serve our customers as best we can. And yes, growth is always, we want more people to be able to access the marketplace. Again, I sound like a shill puppet for the company, but I truly believe that this is the best way to sell your collector car. And so making sure that as many people as possible can get access to the platform is really, really important for us.
Yeah, I echo Bill when I say, I love what you guys are doing. Thanks for doing it. It's an amazing site. As much as I enjoy going to all various auctions, there's just something unique and special about Bring a Trailer that I enjoy, and it's different than the other experiences. But yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Any final thoughts, Bill?
No, plethora of information.
Wheels are turning. I can see it.
As a car guy, as a buyer and a seller, and just a car guy in general, I'm greatly appreciative of the marketplace that you guys have put forth. It's really cool. I see why it's so popular. It's driven by the people, and the people are the ones that are most knowledgeable. And at the end of the day, if that's the representative of the product that you put out, bravo.
People power. It's a good motto, Bill. 100% agree. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I appreciate it. Would love to have you on our podcast sometime. I think it would be fun. We could go deep on your guys' backgrounds and stories. I didn't get to grill you, Matt, about your very interesting BAT account and all the cars you've listed. And Bill, I want to
Yeah.
know so much more about your car background and history. So maybe
There is a little bit of a story there. It just happened organically, but it's friends like Bill, friends like Adam Carolla, other people that I know that were like, I need some help. I need, get a car listed, and I enjoy helping. There's no business model there or anything like that,
And
but
Matt will be helping me on my list.
and you look at the weird list of cars, GT3, Pantera, racing cars like Viper, like this. We did the first Cybertruck.
I remember
Remember that?
all of them, man.
The first Cybertruck.
Your account goes back to the early days. I remember it. It was so exciting when we would list those Corolla race cars in the early days. So
Yeah. Well, we might have more for you. We'll see what we can come up with. But Alex, thanks so much, and everybody, thanks so much for listening. And we will catch you next week. Until then, keep the air in the spare and the bag in the wheel.